Welcome to episode 3 of Contact Buzz.
Woo!
Hello out there.
Hello from the sunny sanctuary.
The sunny depths of the sanctuary here in our little nook in the mountains. It is very bright with a chance of sun. No, it's very yellow in the room right now. Very much so. Holly just changed the light bulb and we're receiving all of its glory right now.
Yeah.
But what that really means is that we're entered into that 5D consciousness, we call it.
Yeah. It's really cool because everything enhances the view of the things around you, which we've talked about in the previous episode about how we have made everything around us an anchor for our soul. And we all know that our body is anchored to our soul. And when we pass, our soul goes on. And our body goes back to mother.
Yeah.
And, I don't even know why I'm talking about this right now.
I don't know either. It's been coming around a lot. I think the more enlightened ones right now, we're kind of in this transition period where we know that something's about to happen and we don't know how we're going to transition over, so we're facing our own mortality, and it's come around a whole lot. And you're right about that. Your soul detaches from this body and it goes back to the ground, back to that earth, back to mother. But that's something that's been coming around us a lot lately in our lessons, is facing that mortality.
And I think also too, with this year has been full of death. And, Dallas lost his dad, his papa, and his uncle all within, 2 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
And
that was the very first part of the year. It was in January, late January.
And recently I lost my cousin. And
then in the recent past, we've lost multiple friends and cousins, and it's just we've been seeing a lot of pattern of death in the past 10 years, we'll say. And a lot of it is the older generation, passing on to their next journey in life, or in this soul journey or whatever. But it's been coming around a lot, and I think it needs to be. I think it's a healthy thing to prepare yourself for, and it also, it's uncomfortable because we don't know exactly what's out there after we pass from this life.
No, we don't.
But in the spiritual journey, you feel it within your soul. You get this knowledge from spirit, and it eases the sting of death, we'll say. It makes death more of just a transition, versus the end all be all. And it shakes it up and makes you consider what is this heaven that people talk about? What is this hell that people talk about? But, we formulate those ideas along our spiritual journey, so we know where we stand on all that. And, you face that mortality, and once you do that, you can fully be enlightened, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's a very uncomfortable subject because Dallas has talked about it multiple times, and you can just see how uncomfortable it makes both of us react. Just in our face and our expressions, and the energy kind of tenses up, and it's kind of
it's because you have to face the fact that that one day you'll have to walk this earth without the presence of that your person.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's a scary thought. It really
is.
And what we've been doing is talking about what our final wishes would be. So this is a good way to get that out there, Holly.
It is a good way to get.
So morbid moment. So bear with us here. We're just facing our mortality on this spiritual journey. So this is for the record for Holly.
Yeah, for me. So I've told my parents this, and I've told everybody, Jesse, my boys.
She's mad now and I'm not.
Speaking of.
So everybody knows my wishes, including Dallas. And now I guess whoever listens to us will hear it too. I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. So us being in the Baptist country, when anybody dies and they don't have wishes out there, they get a ceremony, usually in a funeral home, and be preached upon. And I do not want that. I want it to be a memorial, and I want everybody to tell stories, funny stories, and if you need to cry it out. But, also is I want to, if by then they have them tree pods, I'd love to, but let's just face it, my family ain't gonna be able to afford that shit, so I'll be cremated.
Yeah.
I'll be cremated, and y'all better party over my damn pot, my urn.
Yeah, there you go. And there's nothing wrong with voicing that, and that's your final wish right there. So it's out there, and I feel very similar. I feel like that's what I would want when I pass too. Because what it is we're just on to our next part of the journey. It's just part of that soul contract where you go through these lives. So this is one ending of one of the contracts that you fulfilled. So. On to the next one. So it shouldn't be a sad occasion, which we're always going to mourn the loss of that bond with that person, because that's gone clearly. But you always will have their essence through songs that they loved that you listen to, through all the beautiful memories. That's how we keep that person's essence with us.
Yeah. And it's funny because I told them, I said, Dallas, if I go before you are to come up here daily and sit down in the sanctuary and have conversations.
And I will. Even if I can do it with Jesse, I will. Or if I have to do it myself. I hope Spirit leads me into these beautiful conversations. And I would want you to do the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Not saying it wouldn't be easy, because, we haven't talked about me and Dallas's bond.
Yeah.
Me and Dallas are cousins. And our grandmothers,
great-grandmothers were
twin sisters.
Yeah.
So Dallas lived in the other holler. I live in this holler. A bunch of holler hippies.
Yep, one in Kentucky, me.
And one over to the line in Virginia. That's how close we are to the Kentucky and Virginia line.
Yeah. And we, of course we've told this story before, but, we never knew each other until we were both in our 20s, I think. And we always knew of each other, but we never did have the opportunity to meet up and hang out or whatever. And my crazy brother was doing a low-budget zombie queen film, he called it, Zombie Queen, and Holly was and then they're doing a great job with it. But Holly was helping him out with that, and I had to meet him there and give him something at Jenkins school that is over there, and they were on location filming and got talking to Holly, and we kind of connected that way, and we both figured out we were into the paranormal, metaphysical side of it, like being open and exploring psychic abilities and stuff like that. So anyway, we developed that bond back then, and that at that point was probably 2013-ish, 2012, maybe a little sooner, I can't remember. But that's around about the time that they started the Black Mountain Paranormal Society, and then my brother got me to come along, and of course we developed that bond through that too. We've been to several haunted residential case locations and investigated together, so that started the bond, and then it just avalanched last year. So we developed that bond last year while we were walking. Holly, we were walking. I was walking on the road one day. I was at my biggest point. I was at 360 pounds, feeling disgusting with myself. Just had this beautiful, or started having this beautiful spiritual ascension, not even realizing I was. But started huffing it up my road one day because I wanted to start losing some weight, get more healthy. And Holly passes by and she stops and says, "Hey," or whatever. And then we started walking the following weekend, I think.
Yeah.
Because you had an event that you had to go to or something.
Yeah.
So we started walking and we started talking about all these spiritual things, and it kind of rekindled both of our longing for our spiritual journey, and all these beautiful ascensions have happened, and it's been a crazy ride.
It has. There's a lot of in-betweens.
There is. That was a short synopsis, but But anyway,
Here we are,
and we just sitting here contemplating the universe, trying to figure all this stuff out,
Yeah. Like we said, leaps and bounds over the past year.
Leaps and bounds, and that's why we want to share this with you, so you can see the journey's possible to get to where you want to get to, you know.
Yeah.
Which we're nowhere near. We're just like scraping the surface of all this beautiful stuff, and it's been crazy.
Yeah, it's
so
scraping
far.
the surface for us, but for other people it would be going way down deep in it.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
it's-
I'm not trying to discredit our growth because it's great.
Because
It's
I'm
crazy.
sitting here thinking, man, I don't know
No,
about you, but
we've been through some shit, and we've learned some shit, and we've ascended. So, I mean, we can be proud of that fact, and we can. What we're doing right now is we're trying to reap the benefits of all the hard work that we've put in, you know.
yeah.
And I think everybody should do that, but there's a time and place. I feel like we're at a crossroads kind of right now in our spiritual
Yeah.
advancement. I feel like we're getting ready to break through to something.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a whole new unknown, you know, that we get to explore.
Yeah, and like to think of that is to think, how could it get more unknown than it already is? You know, it's just the things that we experience are beyond any one normal person's comprehension.
That's true. It really is. And when you're on this journey, you'll start to see it. It'll evolve to the point where you're questioning your own sanity.
Yeah.
And you got to work through that. And once you do, you start to get a big understanding of things.
You do. Doesn't make it less uncomfortable, because it is uncomfortable.
It is uncomfortable, and
especially
it always
when
will
it comes to channeling and things like that.
be. Right. But it shows you that it's possible,
Yeah.
and it becomes more of quote unquote normal
Yeah.
or paranormal, whatever you do the debate on that. I feel like it's more normal than paranormal, honestly.
Right, it is. It's supposed to be normal.
Yeah,
it's
it's
supposed to be.
so natural. It happens so naturally, and that's what I love about spirit, man.
Yep.
You get this information, and it's like it appears out of nowhere, but it don't. It's spirit embedding that information in you,
Yeah.
you know, or it's always been in you, and you're just awakening to it. You're
Yeah.
just figuring all this stuff out, you know.
Yep.
It's part of getting in touch with your soul, you know,
Right.
reconciling soul and body. I feel
Yeah,
like.
I have to remind myself a lot when I get around other people who are spiritual that, you know, some people, when they start talking about things, I forget that not everybody's had the same experiences or are as far along on their path.
Yeah.
So it throws me back sometimes, you
Yeah.
know, when people start talking about astral projection and what they really don't know anything about it.
Right.
And I guess because that's where I came from on my journey, but you know, I feel like you absolutely have the understanding of all of it too. But there's a lot of people out there who really don't.
Right.
You know, they're still in the stages of some kind of medical sleep disorder, and it's not.
Yeah, they're just looking for a logical way to explain it. And what is logic? Who's to say, you know?
Right.
But, yeah, it's definitely weird when you're talking, you feel so passionate about something that
Yeah.
you've been through, and you want to talk about that experience. But sometimes we'll run into people that they've not had those experiences yet, so they don't quite understand it. So they're looking at us like we have three heads.
Yeah, like I can totally say this because I know they won't mind it, but at our last retreat, JR and Tanya, we were in meditation, all of us, and being not even in meditation, we were on the porch, I think smoking, but we would try to have these deep conversations, and we forget that, you know, not everybody's reaping the benefits of where we're at on our journey.
Right.
And Lord, we want to take everybody with us, and we want everybody to be right there with us, and
So
that's why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah, we're hoping it reaches you guys. So.
But it's just, you know, when somebody looks at you like you've got three heads, like Dallas said, that's exactly what it's like.
It's not the first time it happened.
No.
It's happened a couple of times with
Yeah.
us, and when we'll be talking about some of the experiences we've had in meditation, and they'll look at us like, "Oh my God, are you crazy?" And we're like, "No, we're not crazy because we've questioned that ourselves."
Right,
you know,
but this is
we're
my
logical
thing.
people here. You know?
Yeah, this is my thing. If you are on a path of spirituality, you should be in tune with this as well.
Absolutely.
You put yourself in some spirituality box.
Yeah.
And you don't need that either.
No.
And that's the thing about me and Dallas, is that we don't tie ourselves to any certain belief system. So we're always questioning things, and we are always grabbing a hold of anything that resonates with us.
Exactly.
So, and everybody should take everything with a grain of salt, absolutely. Until you have an experience with it, then that's different.
Yeah, don't do it just because other people do.
Yeah.
Or don't learn the lingo and be able to talk about it but not practice
Exactly.
it. You know, it's spirituality is a thing that you have to wholeheartedly be invested in, I feel like. And once you do that, things will start to fall in place.
Yep.
You know, if you're truly invested in it.
Yep.
You can claim to be spiritual all day long, but walk the walk if you're going to talk the talk.
I agree with that, and that's, part of what I was getting at too there, was how many people are, it's same with the paranormal, it's same with any kind of thing, I guess.
Any kind of community.
Yeah, exactly. That it becomes these people who have a title, but they can't tell you nothing about their personal journeys on that. But I know I get some people don't have the sources. They haven't listened to their path. They haven't had a teacher that come along to say, hey.
Yeah.
And that's what sometimes I believe, well, I know we all are teachers and students.
Right.
So you touch someone's life when you say, how about listening from within? And it's just like this Sacred Space video I released, and how many people wanted to be a part of, we actually done a little, whatchamacallit?
A little workshop, kind of.
Workshop.
We'll call it.
Yeah.
A little experiment.
Yeah, focus group.
Yeah. Focus group. There
Yeah,
you go.
a little focus group.
Yeah, they tried out this little technique that Holly's developed over the years, and it's a
Yeah.
beautiful technique. I've used it. It's very successful.
Yeah.
And then in doing so, that allowed people to get in touch with their inner selves and to go into meditation. It gives us a good focus point to go to when we're struggling to meditate.
Yeah.
So once you get to that sacred space, where you go from there is infinite possibilities, but that's a point to get you from point A to point B,
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
And I never realized either, up on the focus group, it showed us that nobody knows how to meditate in a way of spiritual growth.
right.
Not unless they're taught in a way to open that door of spiritual growth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I've talked to many people over the years about their meditations, and I've told them every time over these years that I've been doing this is, try this.
Yeah.
Try a focus point.
Right.
Have a sacred space.
Yeah.
And that's where that growth is.
It happens
oh my
exponentially
God.
there, absolutely.
So many times, guys.
Yeah.
So many times. But
And the cool thing is, during a couple of those little focus groups, they had breakthrough moments where they had these beautiful experiences
God,
in meditation, and it exceeded where I thought it would go in a couple of those guys that done that. you know.
yeah.
I was like,
And
wow.
some of them wanted to do it, but some of them didn't want to put in the work for it either.
Some of them started to do it and didn't finish it,
Right.
which is going to happen with anything. People lose interest in stuff quickly.
It is, and that's
Yeah.
why that's no longer available for anyone to access
For the
anymore.
public, yeah,
because
right.
that was part of a focus group. But it showed me that if you give something from your soul for free to someone,
They don't want to take
they
it.
don't want to take it.
Yeah.
And that's the majority. Now, I'm not saying my other people. They were awesome. They were amazing.
We know what you're saying there.
Yeah.
I feel like anybody listening would know
Yeah.
that,
And that's where we're at, too, with these classes. Is stuff that has been gifted to us through spirit that we gift to you.
Exactly.
For a small amount. And that just
For the
covers our energy
exchange,
and there's so much more in there than
and that will create a lifetime bond while walking through this spiritual journey with us. We've had such beautiful experiences at the retreats
Yep.
where it's created a lifetime bond, I feel like. And
It
that's
really
kind
has.
of one of the things that I'd hope that would come out of that retreat, is for everybody to walk away from that weekend feeling bonded, and to always look back on that memory of that weekend, and
Yeah.
that peaceful environment and that just beautiful love,
Yeah. And as people, we don't realize the impact we have on someone's spiritual path. And, we are very humble people, but I've learned that I will give myself credit when credit is due.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful feeling to be able to teach someone something that changes their outlook or even opens them up more to this side of spirituality. It's not, spirituality is not a belief system.
No, it's a way of life.
Yeah.
It's really just a way of thought process.
It is.
It's just, you have it within you. It's embedded within your soul code. It's in your DNA. You
It's
just
in your
have to
bones.
unlock these parts of yourself. And it's a spiritual, that's part of the spiritual
Yeah.
journey,
Absolutely. Well, on that note, I think we're going to wrap this one up.
Yeah, peace out, guys.
Peace out!
Welcome back to
Well.
Contact Buds.
Welcome.
We are just sitting here in the sanctuary as always. As you know, this is completely unplanned and unfiltered, and we just roll with it when we can, while we can,
Yeah.
why we can,
What were you talking about, though? That's what led up to this recording.
I was talking about... Okay, we're going to have to... Yeah, so at this point, I would be ready for anything. And we put in the work in this spiritual journey. We've been humbled. We've been shown that our thought processes weren't actually how they really, what we thought they were. And we realized that all these beautiful things are out there and it's possible. We just want Spirit to know that we're ready to see it. Like we can handle the off-putting things, we think, the weird, odd things that normal people would be frightened of. I don't think we'd be in that situation, really.
I don't think so either. And we was actually having that conversation earlier, and that's what led up to this. Was so if, say, Elon Musk took us in and we learned secrets about the world, it would be shocking, but to be off-putting to where we would, lose our sanity, I don't think so at all.
I don't think so at this point either. And that's the beautiful thing. That's what I was, the point I was trying to get across there. It's a crazy ride this spiritual journey is, and we're ready. We're ready for anything, So.
Yeah, like I'm in meditation, so I'm like, anyway, there's this like icy feeling on my left foot. It's feels like, I don't know, it's so weird.
Yeah, it's part of those different energies that come around during meditation, and we get in touch with our body so we can feel those type things,
Yeah.
and so we know that there's a different stimulus going on than what we're typically used to, and a lot of times it will come in the form of temperature change, and I feel like that's why that's associated a lot with the paranormal,
Right. Yeah, it's so cold down there. It feels like I've got my foot in something, like cold. I don't want to say snow because that would totally. Well, it does kind of feel like snow.
That would make sense because we are taken to that snowy place
Yeah.
a lot during meditation, which I don't think we've ever talked about.
We
publicly.
haven't, not on the show.
A lot of times when we were new into meditation together, group meditation together, we noticed that we would start experiencing a lot of the same things during meditation. And one of the places that we were always pulled to when doing the out-of-body explorations and stuff was a cold, snowy atmosphere. And, we've been there multiple times together.
Yeah.
And so that definitely makes sense.
Yeah, it actually started this month last year when we were at our spiritual retreat of our own. We just went out kind of like a little vision quest, and we camped for a week, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were out for, basically a week.
Yeah.
And, it was such a beautiful little experiment.
That's when we first experienced.
Experience.
That's when we experienced that snow-planed area.
Yeah,
it
that
was so
the very
cool.
first time. It was cool.
And what was really cool is we were at a local campground and there was no one else camping.
Yeah, so we had the whole back end of the campground, which is fully surrounded by mountains.
Yes.
And it was just magical.
It
was a beautiful weekend. A long, extended weekend, we'll call it.
Yeah, and it worked out so cool because we actually done crafts. So we done little pentagram
Mobiles.
Yeah.
And then we used the fresh wildflowers that was still in bloom and dressed them up. And,
they were so cute.
It was so cute. Of course, we cheated and we had some jute string with us so we could tie it all together. But hey, you know what? It was a beautiful experience.
Spirit provided, absolutely. And it was such a good feeling. And this year, that's past for us, and we've come to terms with that. But this year, we knew, and we know now more than ever that what we're doing now is what we need to be doing.
Yeah.
And we've been into complete meditation.
Complete student mode.
Yes, for the last year.
Yeah, we've been sitting here patiently in meditation trying to figure out all these energies and all this information that's been given us, and, you know, just being diligent and trying to figure this out because we're excited about it. We want to know what's next. We want to be able to be ready when things change, and when do things change, or what changes. You know, we're trying to figure all that out right now in this spiritual journey, and it's very rewarding to be able to sit in meditation like this for hours and to actually be able to do that and to make sense of it and talk about it and share experiences with others, you know?
Yep, exactly. And you realize on your journey that you start realizing that materialistic things doesn't mean much to you anymore, so the money doesn't mean much anymore, and you let go of a lot of things around you, and you no longer worry about materialistic things.
Yeah.
And it's a really good feeling when you do that on your spiritual journey, and it helps in the future when you keep working on yourself spiritually, and you keep going through these ascensions. You have these as tools to use.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we don't realize that along the path. It takes a moment like this for us to be like, holy shit, yeah.
Yeah, I've got this in my spiritual tool belt right now.
Yeah.
You know? Absolutely.
I love it.
I love it too. And thank you guys for listening. Peace out.
Peace out.
Good evening, and blessed Mabone.
Blessed Mabone, everybody. You're catching us the week of Mabone here on Contact Us.
You are, and we are actually in full-on celebration mode. We've constructed a nice witch's ball. We've done a very beautiful ceremony the other night.
Yeah.
We've been baking lots of bread. We're just getting into the spirit. We've always felt a special feeling in the air this time of year. Our whole lives, I have. I mean, I know you have too. And it's that feeling of Mabone. It's that magic of nature and it running its course for the year.
Yes. And also, it's the same feeling people get at the same time, around this time of year, around the equinox.
Yeah.
And they do it, whether it be Halloween, fall feeling, whatever it may be. What they don't realize is they celebrate it in ways that they're not aware, because there's different ways, like fall cleaning. That's the reason we have fall cleaning, hence spring cleaning, which is a spring equinox.
It definitely, you do feel it in the air for sure. I know I do. You and me both, we were cleaning up a storm there last week and didn't even realize it, but should have known. You know, we were getting ready for Mabone, and what's the biggest thing about this part of the year? It's release. And so you release what no longer serves you, and then also you receive the rewards of all the good karma that you've had throughout the year.
Yeah.
Or bad, or whatever it may be, you know. But.
Yep, and we're going into the dark part of the year.
Yeah.
Which means you're cleaning up everything. Why? To have a higher vibrational energy.
Because as we all know, it is a definite downer, that dark part of the year. You know, that's when a lot of people struggle with good catch. that's when a lot of people struggle with depression, and easily done. I know myself and you, we fall victim to that every winter about it, and we try our best not to, but we end up doing a little bit. This past winter was exceptional, though. It was a lot of shit that happened.
Yeah, it really is. Still going. Still going.
Oh, yeah. True that. It's still going. We're dealing with this pandemic, man. It's been ruling our lives. And that's what we got to figure out how to do, is not let it run our lives, and to create our own reality and to will this shit away,
Yeah. You know what's really cool, just sitting here thinking about this and just hearing you mention changing everything and getting to that higher vibrational state to move on to a higher consciousness. Because I was thinking about something that I can't fucking remember.
Yeah, you're going into a higher state of consciousness this time of year.
Yeah.
Release and all that good stuff.
I was going to mention how things that we've talked about, well, we may have not talked about on this show yet, but we have definitely talked about on our Facebook Lives, is about some of the experiences we had last year.
Oh, yeah.
That are now coming into formation and making sense to us.
Very true, very true, yeah.
I remember one of the first times or second times that I channeled, they said when the North meets the South, when the North meets the South, and we're like, well, what does that mean?
Yeah, and then later on in meditation, I'm talking months later, I feel the connection with the poles, the North and the South Pole, and it all kind of seemed to make sense to us there. And then yesterday, as we do, we found an article that stated exactly pretty much what that prophecy said.
Yeah, and there's no denying this, that everybody's... Sorry.
It's okay.
Everybody is feeling this shift. Yeah. It's obvious. How can we deny this as a society, that we are seeing this? Look at all these school shootings, these murders, these kidnappings, it's just all acts of lower vibrational people who have not got their shit right.
Right, and something happened, and there's a switch that flips, and they just like lose their shit.
They do.
Everybody's irritable. I mean, the news looks so outlandish every day when you turn on the news, or if you just scroll through Facebook on the news like I do. You never know what outlandish news headline you're going to see,
No, you really don't.
And it's all that shit energy, that big energy that we always talk about, that brings that in, and that's what people are choosing to thrive in right now with politics and religion. It all falls into that lower vibrational plane, and I know you are, and people like us, we're choosing to rise above that shit, man.
Yeah, we have to, because I don't want to stay in this shit. I mean, come on. I wish that everybody's eyes was open, and I know that's not the way it works. And I realize that there's this higher source of energy that, I fail to believe that it's just a source of energy with no intentions. Right. Obviously, there is intentions, and we don't know everything about the world, but damn it, we're trying. Yeah,
we are trying really hard, and every day in meditation for hours, and we do learn these beautiful, profound lessons. And like Holly said, we connect the dots. We are given a piece of information, then later on it clicks and makes sense with us, like what happened earlier.
Absolutely.
What did happen earlier?
About the learning the lesson.
Yeah.
So,
about truly inspiring people.
Inspiring people. And, you take for granted how many people you help, and, it just becomes repetitive in a way. Not in a bad way. We love what we do, but you realize that you touch people's lives, and you also inspire them to do things within themselves that they wouldn't normally do.
Right. And if they see something that you're doing that they love, and you feel like they
may have copied
or
trying to be you. That does happen a lot.
But we got to also too think that we've inspired them to want to be that way, or to want to do that certain thing.
Our ego was
stepping in the way as
Yeah.
it sometimes does, but
I
not.
mean, it obviously does for everybody.
Yeah, right.
But what Spirit was saying was, this is how you should see it and feel it.
Yeah, exactly. Not necessarily the way you guys are looking at it, but
Right.
here's how you should see it, and that's true. And I
Yeah.
felt like a smuck after I
Me
thought
too.
about it.
Me too, and that's been happening a lot lately.
A whole lot.
We were out of town at an event, and we kind of got out of sorts because it was for good reason, but kind of overreacted with each other, and I was, said out loud, "I'm sorry for saying that stuff."
Me too. Me too.
That was very
childish,
and that was very
in the moment.
Yeah, in the
very
moment.
Unthought through.
How many of you actually take the time
to correct yourself?
To
be like, Dallas, you shouldn't have said that. You were an asshole for saying that.
Right.
And we do it all the time.
Yeah,
You hear
and
me
it's
do
our
it. I
pride
hear
that
you
gets in
do
the way,
it.
which is part of ego.
Yeah.
And everybody hears the here's the word ego.
Yeah.
And automatically attaches it to someone who is a gloater, who is famous.
Not necessarily. I mean, definitely, yeah.
That is a part of it, yes. And that part can piss you off very royally, especially if you're spiritual and you've been working on this path for years naturally. And I say natural by actually connecting with Spirit and
having these
information from
experiences,
Spirit. Yeah. And, y'all know how I feel about that. If you don't, we'll go down that alley, because I'm telling you, the best way that you can learn is from Spirit. Now, don't get me wrong. I know we've been teachers in people's lives, and I know other people's has been teachers in mine, and I've been a student.
It works beautifully, yeah.
Yeah, nobody knows. No one is the...
And you don't even know when it's happening, when they're the student and when they're the teacher, when you're the student and when you're the teacher.
Yeah.
Until your spiritual path advances, and then here we are. We know we're students right now. We're learning everything we can about the universe, but we're also we're afforded this beautiful opportunity to show people what we've experienced and allow them to take influence from that.
Yeah. I just think that, we do influence people. People influence us.
Yeah.
In positive ways. So, again, that word right there, influence, you always hear it with negativity.
Yeah, but it could be a positive.
Absolutely positive thing. And I think that's the mindset that we're going into with this new world.
I think so, too.
You need to get rid of these thoughts, because it makes you a better person and the bigger person. And If someone has trouble with you and they are intentionally stealing from you, then you can still say with it and walk away with no kind
a
of
good
karma.
conscience.
Yeah. And saying, I inspired them.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Man, when we said that out loud, I felt such a
release. Yeah. Because that is how it is. We don't have to harbor those feelings of ego. We know that when we are showing signs of ego, we will drop it.
Yeah.
And that is a great thing to me. That's what I have strived to work forward toward.
Yeah.
Is completely ego-free.
Right. And don't get me wrong, we're talking about in situations more lenient, but I've been in the positions where someone started to become me.
Yeah.
And we were still friends.
Yeah.
And it started to be like, okay, now,
this is weird.
This is very weird.
Right.
Very, very weird. And, Spirit really took care of that.
I'm all about inspiring, and I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But me personally, I'm prideful. I want to make something my own. I want to make it feel like it came from my heart, And if something does resonate with me like that, then I will find a way to incorporate it in my own way.
Yes, exactly.
And that's what people should do, and I think that's very uplifting to think about, that you can inspire people in that manner.
Yeah.
Hopefully in the right manner and not the manner that they see it in.
Well, the problem is everybody they think they have this free pass to spirituality. And don't get me wrong, anybody can say they walk a spiritual path, but are they really walking it?
Absolutely.
So you can I'll ask, and I've done it for years, I'll ask people if they meditate. Do you meditate? Do you meditate? Even in the spiritual field, do you meditate? No.
I know. It's so strange. And that's strange. We know that that's the key to everything.
It is.
So that's why it's strange to us.
Yeah. I think we just haven't met our genre of people yet.
We haven't, but we're slowly collecting a category of people that we can call our
People,
our tribe, yeah. And that is a good thing too, you know. You got your tribe. You have to have that in life, you know.
Oh yeah, but you also have to have your people that you can hold a conversation with, you know.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, even if they are part of your tribe, you need to be able to communicate 100% with them.
And them understand the words that are coming out of your mouth.
Exactly.
Like
yeah. Because I mean, if you're not on the same page, unfortunately, you're never going to be. Because the more enlightened ones have risen above, and the ones that haven't, you know, are still finding these cool, awesome things out about spirituality. And that's the good thing about us being being able to be called as mentors, is to share that knowledge where other people couldn't.
Yeah.
You know,
I think a lot of people who don't understand that if you do ride coattails, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, is that spirit takes care of those people. That is their journey, and they're skipping steps. And spirit will not allow that. So that's important to remember when you're saying I inspire them, instead of getting angry or, you know, being like, wow, what are they doing? Like, it's so easy to get in that because we're human at the end of the day.
It is, and like you said, it's part of that ego that gets in our way, and at least we can, anybody can look at that and be like, oh, I shouldn't be this way about that, you know?
Yeah.
And change it. It's as simple as that, guys. Why would you want to be a shitty person if you could change it?
Yeah. And, oh my God, we sound like them freaking... like not videos, shit. Remember when we drove the trail and we would listen to
the inspirational,
the motivational speaking and stuff.
Yeah, you will rise above.
You will.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about it is people can play that for someone and they won't listen.
No.
Listen.
It don't truly hit you until you're ready to hear it, and then you're like,
whoa.
Oh, you got all the motivation in the world, you know, and you're like, let me get started.
It is. It's beautiful. And we done that a lot last year.
Yeah, we did.
And it helped a lot to help us to keep motivated on our health journey, and then shit happened.
Yeah. As life does. But, you know, you roll with the punches.
Hey, you know what? I have to say this, and it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But remember to love yourself in the moments every day of who you are. Not what you could be or not what you was, but who you are.
Absolutely.
And, you know, if who you are now is 50 pounds heavier, so be it. Still love yourself.
Absolutely, because you're still that same person.
Yeah.
And maybe you got a few extra pounds, you'll be able to get it back off of there. You just have to, like you said, love yourself, because you can't in no way, shape, or form truly love somebody until you figure out how to love yourself first, because you're the most sacred thing in your realm of existence. That's you. I don't understand why people don't put themselves first.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly, because when I learned that I love myself, and I'm hard on myself sometimes, and everybody is, but for the most part I love myself, and no matter how big I am right now, I will not let that dictate who I am as a person. That weight on the scale does not dictate who I am as a person. Mm-hmm. And finding my worth in someone else, nah, hell no. That's a lot of women and men do that. Yeah. Stop trying to find your worth in someone else. Find the worth within yourself.
Absolutely, and it is such a freedom when you're able to do that.
Yeah, and it's shadow work.
It sets you free.
So it's scary for people. It's shadow work. So they'd rather go hop to
from person to person
or get in relationships
just
so
to
they
hide
can feel
those
love.
feelings and mask what they're really feeling.
Yeah.
With the pleasure zone, like, you know.
Yep.
I don't get it. I don't. But
I don't either. But
that's why I'm super thankful for my spiritual journey every day, and for all the shit things that I've been through. And I realized recently, within the past 3 years, that I love myself too.
Yeah.
And that was a major hurdle for me. I never thought I'd ever truly be at peace with myself and who I was.
Yeah.
You know, but guess what? You find that throughout life's journeys, you know?
You do. And that comes in authenticity, too. And that's something that me and Dallas has always talked about. And this is not coming from an ego or anything, but we've always been very truthful people. we don't hide anything. We are who we are. And I think that makes a big difference too. If you struggle with who you are, your identity, you have to start somewhere. You
I
really
agree.
have to turn around and look at yourself instead of projecting your problems out through other ways.
Exactly, and it will continue through your children.
Yep.
If you procreate on this earth. I wholeheartedly believe in karmic energy. I believe you get that from generation to generation, whether it's a curse that somebody's put on you or whatever people refer to it as. But
Yeah.
there's
It's
that karmic
generational,
energy
yeah.
is generational.
Yeah.
But yeah, just rise above all that shit. Put your ego down.
Yep.
I don't care if you think you're the worst person in the world or if you think you're the best person in the world. Put that ego down. Face the things that you've done. Maybe you were a shitty person. But guess what? Until you face that, acknowledge it, and let it pass, it's going to dangle right there
Yep.
and torture you.
It is, because it's not dealing with things. It is finding things that fulfill you in other ways, like I said
Exactly.
before.
And that's where addiction comes
Yep.
from. And that's where these quote-unquote demons surface from
Yep.
that people
Yep.
refer to as that don't understand this kind of thing, you know?
No, it's negative energy. And
Yep.
negative feeds on negative. So
It does.
what you put out in the universe is what you get.
100%. And we've seen it, guys, with our very own eyes. We're seeing it daily. And you will too, as soon as you choose to believe that it will be.
Yes.
That's the thing. You can think it all day long, but until you believe it will be, that's the missing component. And I'm so glad we found that component.
Me too.
Yeah.
So I guess we're wrapping up the show.
Yeah, we got lots of good things in store, and we're excited to preach on.
Yeah.
Peace.
Hashtag holler hippies.
Hashtag holler hippies.
Yeah, we got our
hashtag
holler hippie shirts
spirituality.
in.
Hashtag,
Happy Mabone.
yeah, happy Mabone, you name it. But most importantly, peace out. Let them compete.
Let them try to compete.
Exactly. Why is that?
Cause we're some high energy beings.
And it's hard to compete with that.
It is hard to compete with that. It's the same concept of what we was talking about yesterday, how spirit will knock people down for tailcoating.
Yeah.
Coattailing, sorry.
Riding the coattails.
Yeah, riding the coattails. You can
It's
only do
true.
it for so long.
That's true.
And then their little ego gets pissed off because your light still shines just as bright or
Yeah.
brighter.
Yeah. And then it is what it is in those situations, you know. It speaks for itself, and everybody around can see that. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's beautiful.
It is a beautiful thing. It really
We say
is.
beautiful a lot on this show.
Because we choose to see the beauty in life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. It's our little quirkies.
It is. And I love it.
I love it too. It's what makes us us.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You read my mind.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Speaking of
Yes.
all this crazy shit being manifested so quickly, Holly and I, we were having a conversation about what yesterday?
I can't remember, to be honest with you.
That's quite alright. We were talking about wanting some good fried fish or something like that, and we talked about the different.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about bacon tilapia and salmon and all that, and then I get home from
And banana bread. We've been talking about banana bread.
Yeah, and we talked about banana bread, and I get home from our evening commune, and Mom tells me that her sister was sending some fried fish up. And then when my nephew brings it home, he's got a bag of banana bread. I was like, okay,
What is
here
that?
we go.
Like, shit, y'all.
Totally manifested
Can't
that
make
right
that
in.
up. And one day this week, we were just, I don't know, in our heads, not having silent conversations is what we were doing.
Right.
And I was thinking about Cynthia. And then I was thinking about, the herbs. And then I was thinking, does Cynthia smoke the herbs? And then, in my mind, I thought about us going out to Iowa in, in October, and all of a sudden, Dallas out of nowhere goes, "Oh, Cynthia."
Yeah.
I was like,
I don't even know what prompted me
What?
to do it. I just had this strong feeling about Cynthia. And
yeah.
I said it out loud, not even realizing I did.
Yeah.
And it was just very strange.
People don't realize it, but we have these conversations
These
more
mental
often.
conversations with each other.
Yeah, we do, and that's
Right.
why they say you read my mind.
Yeah.
You really did. It's a telepathic connection.
It is. And we do it all the time, whether it be singing the same lyrics of the same song at the
Yes.
same time. And,
Yep.
we do it all the time.
I think it's a being in sync with each other's energies.
Right.
Because we talk about channeling and how these higher energy beings put off a different energy for us that might be unsettling.
Yeah.
Just like recently we've realized and put together this energy that's been coming around. Like, this energy makes the bottom of my feet hurt.
Yeah.
And it makes...
It feels like a change in the atmospheric pressure.
Just like right now.
Yeah, it makes my ears want to pop. It's a very tight, very big presence of energy, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's like
It's hard to take.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it brings out the pain in the feet there, because mine tingle and start hurting too.
Yeah. It's at the pads of my feet that start hurting.
The balls
And it's been coming around slowly, but now I guess we're supposed to focus on it more.
Yeah.
And there was
figure it
something
out.
else with it too.
There was, but...
Something about the plane of existence.
Yeah, there was,
the dimension that we were in. It's a
yeah.
change of...
It slips into a different dimension.
Yeah,
it's
higher
a higher
vibrational
vibrational state. Yeah.
Look at us.
I know, right?
Solving the mysteries of the world.
Yes.
Guys, this is just, can you imagine what you've not heard come out of our mouths that we haven't recorded for all those years?
Exactly.
Oh, well.
It's such a shame that we didn't start doing this much earlier. And we talk about this all the time, and I know there'll be people out there listening, but we're doing this for us more so than anything, and we're hoping that capturing the true essence of what we're doing will allow you to be able to do the same thing. That's our goal with this. We love to talk about spiritual stuff and figure out the universe, and if we can help it in any way with you listening, then that's why we do what we're doing here. And I wish that we had started this so much earlier.
Me too. And people would have got to really see our journey, but from now on they'll get to see where we're at and where we've been and where we're going.
Yeah, because we had some exciting times that we would have loved to have had fresh in our minds and be able to tap back into and listen to. And
we had to work through things, and you had to work through a lot about how people hear you, and you know what I'm saying?
Just my whole presence, knowing that I'm talking to potentially thousands of people.
Right, yeah, and it always is human. These things, these emotions and ways we react, you realize when you're on your spiritual path and you really are connected with spirit going through these lessons, you work through those, the fears, the
insecurities,
yes, and that's
the moments
huge.
of sheer, oh shit, what do I do? Kind of, you just have to roll with it and go. When you're all of a sudden just thrust into
a different, like a higher vibrational state.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's been happening lately. We haven't talked about that.
And it's so off-putting at first, and that's why people struggle with it. That's why Holly had a beautiful breakthrough the other day.
Yeah.
Where she was able to finally get over that fear and let go.
And for fear for me, I want to just put this out there, what it feels like to me, and then you can tell them what it feels like to you. It feels like a roller coaster, like when it's going off the edge of something you can't see or whatever. That's what it does. It creates this knot within me, and I buck up and I break that vibrational state.
Well, that's basically what I do too, but also too on the flip side of that, when we're out of our bodies and somebody comes in the door and it just jolts us right back into our body. It's that same kind of feeling, like where you're sucked back in and you're like, oh God.
There's been times where it's been the weirdest feeling that me and Dallas talked about, because it's like we're hovering over top of our body and we can feel ourselves coming back in, and it makes you jump like that.
It does. It really does. And we've heard that in meditation.
Yes,
We had a beautiful at our little spiritual retreat that we did last year out in the campground out there in the wilderness. We had a beautiful moment where Holly was actually, that might have happened here at the house.
No,
it was out there. Okay. Holly heard myself come back into the body, and she can do a good example of it.
Yeah, it was like this. It was like a suction coming back in.
So strange, and then I remember being aware that when I was unaware.
Yeah, and then I heard it again while we were here in the sanctuary. That's
right,
probably what he's thinking about too.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God, I heard that. So I had to be in the same plane that he was at that, or his, like, that you were at that time,
right,
to be able to hear you go.
Exactly. Because otherwise you wouldn't have. And
because it didn't come out of his mouth. It didn't come out of that. It was the sound of the body coming back into, the conscious the soul body coming back into the body.
Exactly.
Physical body.
Right. It was really cool.
It was.
But that's what happens in meditation when you allow yourself to open up and use that imagination and use your true instinct, trust your gut, and what you're seeing and feeling is real.
Yeah.
A
lot of people struggle with that. And we've talked about that on the show as well.
We have.
But that's something we strive for, because we've worked through our own, and we know, there's no other better way for someone to help to mentor you or guide you than someone who's been through it, not someone who's just got a certificate for it.
Exactly.
So there's that.
Right. I wholeheartely agree.
I mean, we're from the spiritual school of hard knocks, baby.
Yeah, we are. Oh, how we are. We've been through a lot to get us to where we are today, and that's why we're so proud of what we're doing and how we're able to overcome those obstacles in life, man.
Yeah.
It's that's why I say it's a crazy ride, but it's a beautiful ride.
Yes,
And it's just continuing in beautiful harmony and just raising those vibrations and keeping us up so we can get the hell out of this place and into the next one,
I agree. I am so ready for that.
Me too. And what a beautiful day.
Oh, happy day.
When Jesus was.
Oh, when he was.
Yes. But anyway, that was a beautiful little session. I think we
was.
will go ahead and wrap up this episode.
Yes, and we're getting ready for our Mabone dinner.
Yeah, we're getting ready to feast. We got a nice little roasted herb chicken, 2 of them.
Ooh.
Oh, and some fried apple pies we did earlier.
Yes.
Be jealous.
Uh-huh.
And most of all, peace out.
Out.